Salida, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim and welcome to the Sounds German review of the new Accept album, The Rise of Chaos. What can I even say about Accept, the heavy metal band from Germany, that hasn't been said before? This band was founded more than a decade before I was even born and went through 3 split-ups by now. This now 4th incarnation of the band is without legendary band founder Udo Dirk Schneider, and the question is if the band can do their legacy justice after all these years and formation changes. Consider this a spoiler, but turns out, yes, they can. Without wasting any time on a long intro song or anything like that, except throw typical heavy metal guitar riffs and drumming at the listener right from the first moment, with the opener Die by the Sword. Not to be confused with the Slayer track by the very same name. Mid and up-tempo parts go hand in hand, as do the vocalized parts with the occasional instrumental bridge that gets thrown at you here. Being the legend that Dirk Schneider is, I also feel that Mark Tornillo is a worthy follow-up for him, and I will say his voice is even a bit more versatile, especially when he unleashes the occasional high-pitched scream. Most of the time you will get vocals though that sound just a touch raspy, enhanced with the occasional echoing effect or "oh" chorus going on in the background. To be perfectly honest though, composition-wise, this album delivers probably the most cliched bunch of tracks that you could imagine under the label of heavy metal. Not that this is a bad thing, especially with a band this seasoned you probably won't expect many experiments. It feels fine, it transfers the atmosphere and the emotions that you would probably expect from this kind of music very well. But just know that when you buy this album, you buy pure, unapologetic heavy metal made in Germany. No experiments, no new elements, this is Accept in its purest form. And as much as I enjoy experimental music myself, going in with this expectation made this a really enjoyable album for me. You get 10 tracks of straight metal, just as advertised and nothing else. You won't find a token ballad on here or anything like this, although I have to say a bit of a proper intro and outro would have been nice. The final track, called Race to Extinction, rears its heavy, stompy guitar riffs right to the very end, and well, then the album is just over like that from one second to the other. Topic-wise, however, Accept goes some unusual paths on this disc. The general topic of the album is chaos in the world, and the band handles that in various forms. The most on-the-nose track is probably Kool-Aid, which is about the Jonestown tragedy. But when the track shouts at you to don't drink the Kool-Aid and to not follow the preacher, no matter what he says, it becomes very clear that the message is applicable to many other situations and people and is not just focused on this one event the track is based on. The song Carry the Weight, on the other hand, takes it to a more personal level, listing all kinds of horrible things you might see when you look at the news each day, from climate change to catastrophes of any sort. This song rather calls out to the individual listener to maybe not feel necessarily guilty or try to fix all the world's problems on your own. And I think we all know that one guy who sees some bad news and takes them, well, really too hard. That one guy who really starts to worry about them and ponders them and maybe tries to solve them even though it's not possible. This is the kind of person I feel they want to address here. The song presents this with screeching, drawn-out guitars and some mid-tempo drums in the chorus, while it picks up some more speed in the verses itself. But it's not actually all doom and gloom with these Teutonic metalheads. Analog Man describes the day of an old guy in the modern age. Someone who grew up with vinyl and cassette tapes, while we have now all these technological gadgets. Or, as the song puts it, my cell phone is smarter than me. Accept chose very deliberately to not go the route of condemning technological advances in the song, however. They don't waggle their finger and pretend that everything was better decades ago, which I found to be a great route to take. Instead, they paint a picture most people should be able to smile about. The younger generation because they probably know someone who just can't keep up with modern technology anymore, and the older generation because they can maybe find themselves or a friend in this track again. This is of course a very personal kind of chaos Accept talk about here, but the band managed to make it fit with the rest of the album perfectly. This choice of topics and how they decided to handle it certainly is a bit unusual for the genre, but it's a welcome change as far as I'm concerned. Last but not least, because Accept handle these topics really quite well all throughout. They never appoint themselves as judges that are there to show you the right way, and with the playtime the album also doesn't outstay its welcome. I found it to be the perfect length to get my dose of heavy metal in and then be filled for some time. Production on this album is also fine for the very most part, with these screeching guitars and high-pitched screams sounding exactly how they should and how you would expect it from a heavy metal album. I only found the drums to sound a little bit thin and silent here and there, really just on rare occasions, but for the most part they are perfectly fine too, and production-wise you really can't complain too much. So, as a conclusion, Accept do what Accept do. And they do it once again. By now you probably know these guys if you like heavy metal, and they once more deliver a fine album. They surely don't stray from the path in any way, they don't treat any new ground music-wise or anything like that, but instead deliver just a completely solid album without a single dud on the disc. And to be honest, this is more than you can say for many others. Unusual topics for the genre make it relevant and interesting, even after decades of band activity, and no matter if you're a seasoned genre fan or just discovering this genre for you, if you like heavy metal even slightly, chances are you will like The Rise of Chaos. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like or just subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I will post at least one review per week, more content whenever I can manage to do it. You can also follow me on Facebook and or Twitter, links are in description, and also in the description you will find shopping links for this album and any relevant music videos or album streams if there are any. And if you have listened to this album, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Have a nice day. Salida.